Hello guys, welcome back to Talks Writers. In this video, we want to continue our discussion on general aspects of numerical solution of partial differential equations. So we want to talk about the stability conditions and also second order of accuracy for discretizing equations so that we can solve diffusion equation. Let's go for it. Okay, so stability and convergence. Let's see what they mean in action. These are very essential things in numerical computing. And, in order to briefly describe what that means, you saw that numerical computing is a sort of approximation to a function. Like, let's say that we have a function here, which is this one, and we want to describe it as a discrete set of points. So we want to just compute the value of the function at these points instead of having a continuous interpretation of that. But then the problem is we want to investigate if there is no difference if we choose, for example, this kind of discretization, or we really add more points here, or we remove some of the points and have a coarser discretization, let's say, with bigger time, with bigger step, with delta x, smaller one, bigger one. What happens, especially when we have time in addition to space, we have 2 variables or 3 variables, then it becomes really crucial that what is the distance between these steps? These discrete points should be the time step, the mesh size or grid size. What is the importance of those things? And this is actually the topic that we want to discuss here. So, in this case, we generalize the code that we had in previous videos. So we put it inside a function that accepts, the parameters for delta t, for number of x, let's say number of points and grid points along the x-axis, and compute the values, compute the solution, what we did in previous video actually. When we call it, it plots the solution for us, like for 41 points. As you can see, this is the first parameter. The rest, they have default values for the final time and time step. When we pass 61, the same result, a more accurate one, I can say. You can see that it has more sharp interface here, which is more accurate because this is the initial condition. And you see that you expect it to move like with this more or less the same shape because this is not non-linear as we discussed in previous video. 71, a more sharp one. But when we pass 85, we see that boops, it's like that. Everything is exploded here. So what has happened? This is very important to understand. Very important, actually. So, there is a discussion here, but I don't want to go to the mathematics that is described here, as I said in a previous video. I don't want to go to the mathematics, but I want to show you why it says that the value of delta x should be lower than this c delta t. This is called the condition, the stability condition that should be satisfied for any numerical computation of convection equation, let's say. But why this should be satisfied? The problem is, let me see if there is any discussion here. Okay, so yeah, this is actually what it should be. But the problem is, the thing that you should notice is just assume, this is, something that I'll learn, that actually my first teacher on numerical computing taught me, the guy who taught me actually computational fluid dynamics. This is his interpretation of the problem. Assume that we have a particle here that we want to see how it moves along the x-axis. And along the x-axis, we have discretized the space into, for example, a couple of grid points. So here, here, and here. When it moves, and these are actually the widths of delta x. When we want to see how this particle moves to the right, we can track, because this is an approximation. Remember, this is an approximation of the real movement of this particle. So as we want to track the movement of this particle, if the particle moves in this limited range of delta x, we know that where it goes, because it is still in the range that we can track it. The rule of thumb here is at any time step delta t, the particle should not move more than one grid point, because otherwise we cannot track it. We cannot track what is happening here. For example, imagine that it goes here in the next time step. We don't know what has happened between these two locations. This is a rule of thumb in numerical computing, that when you have a time step, let's say sort of discretization in one of the variables, in this case time, the state variable, the function of desire, the function of this interest, in this case the particle movement, should not change in respect to the other variable, which is x here, more than one step. This is the stability conditions of numerical computing. If it goes more than one, let's say in this case delta x, in the grid size, more than one grid size, then we lose the track. And then the numerical simulation will diverge, or let's say doesn't converge. This is a very nice interpretation of what's happening here actually and how it works in action. In order to write this in mathematical forms, we define a term called sigma, and that is actually CFL, as you can see here, which is CFL, names of the scientists who have investigated this for the first time, Curran, Frederick, and Levy. And it says that this value should always be more than or less than 1. So when this is less than 1, you know that the numerical simulation will converge or has a better convergence. As you saw with 81, it is sort of, I don't know, it's a sort of explosion. Everything is collapsed, sort of. It's like that actually. But at some points, if you want to have more, let's say, a better convergence rate, this is a term that we use a lot, a better convergence rate, you can also define it as like 0.5 or 1/3 or something. It shouldn't be necessarily less than 1. It can be also less than half. So you are sure that this condition is met. So in order to implement it, you can see that here we pass sigma here, that is like, as I said, 0.5, and then you compute the value of delta t based on that. So you adapt the time step based on delta x. And using this, you have your final time still, your final time is there, the grid size is there, no matter what that is. But you adapt time step to that. And then you will have smooth numerical simulation. As you can see here, even with 85 or even above 100, you have the same results and you have no collapse. This is the stability in numerical simulations. And this is a very, very important concept. But let's go for, have a very general look at second order derivatives for diffusion equation, for one-dimensional diffusion equation. And I say that this is a general overview because in the next video I will deep dive into the diffusion equation and I will describe different aspects of it. But here I will discuss it just to demonstrate the second order of accuracy, because in the previous video we discussed the first order of accuracy, and I think it's worth mentioning it here as a second order, what second order would be. For second order of accuracy, we want to just assume that we want to solve this famous diffusion equation. And as you can see, it has a second, let's say, second order of derivative. So the second derivative of u in respect to x is represented, is present here. So we need to deal with that. So first order of accuracy doesn't suffice to solve this kind of equations. we need a kind of scheme, numerical scheme. This is a term that people use a lot, that has the accuracy of O of, you remember the big O notation, the accuracy of the second order. And how to use it? This is the Taylor series. You know it from the first video on this finite difference series. This is the derivative for the forward difference on U, so on ui plus 1. So this is actually ui minus 1. Oops, sorry. Ui minus 1. This is ui, and this is ui plus 1. And when we want to have the value of ui plus 1 in respect to ui, this is forward difference and this is backward difference. So this one, for this one, we have the forward difference here and backward difference here, and then we add them, removing these terms, for example. And then for the second order of accuracy, we will have it here, and it yield to something like this. So this is a kind of formulation that we can use to discretize the second order of derivative, the derivative terms in the second order. As simple as that. As you can see, the squared root, sorry, the time step squared is appear here. And then, as I said, the accuracy is in the order of 2. And that's why we say this is a second order of accuracy. Okay, cool. Let's go on and see how we can apply this technique to our equation. And yeah, again, forward difference in time and a combination of backward and forward difference in space yielding to this equation. And if we iterate through this iteratively, we can solve the equation. Very, very simple, in a very simple manner. So for the same problem as we saw in the previous video, I mean for the signal, so for the stability condition of the diffusion equation, it is, you can see that the CFL condition is a bit different from the convection equation. And but the concept is what I told you, actually, that you should track the movement of the particles, imaginary particles, not more than one grid space in one time step. And then we can simply solve it. This is not very different from the convection equation solution, so we use NumPy again for that. And then this is very, very nice. This shows how diffusion takes place, because yeah, this is actually, it goes from the higher values to the lower values, and using some techniques for with this package FFmpeg and some features of this Jupyter notebooks, we can create the animation and plot it here. So this is actually how it works in action. As you can see, this is how diffusion works in reality for this kind of, for example, formulation, for this kind of problem setup. This is very, very nice and shows the power and the beauty of numerical computing. Yeah, this is a very general introduction to diffusion equation. I told you that in the next video I will dive into the diffusion equation. I will describe different kind of formulation for finite difference solution of this equation, of this very nice equation. And by doing that, you will learn, we can reveal a lot of secrets behind this kind of computations. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to check out the content and the materials, because this is very important, especially for considering the importance of stability conditions in numerical computing. Okay, have fun with it and see you in next videos. Bye.